Made possible through support from ARC Thrift Stores, Atlantis Community Inc., CCDC, Colorado Cross Disability Coalition, Developmental Pathways, the Arc of Aurora, and Rocky Mountain ADA Center. A THINK+change training.
Hey there, it's Jeff.
And I'm Petrie.
And we are advocates with the Arc of Aurora. And today we are going to present you a THINK+change training on the subject ADA in the community. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Very exciting.
Let's jump into it. So ADA, it really starts off in the community in regards to buildings in the building design process. When you start building a new building, you need to design and construct based on accessibility to all.
Okay, what about old buildings?
Old buildings. So if an old building is going to get updated, they need to look at ADA regulations and make sure that they are going to comply with it.
So doing some retrofitting?
Yes, absolutely. So just so you understand, under ADA, all facilities are required to be accessible for people with disabilities. All facilities are also required to give people equal opportunity to participate in whatever the function of the building is.
So not just getting in.
Not just getting in the door. It's not just getting in the door. It's once you're in the door, being able to meaningfully use the facility. And that can be, obviously the entrance is a big deal, and it's like the hot button. Like, oh, that door is not accessible. That's way more than that, though. You need to be able to access the services once you're in the building. Toilets, drinking fountains, telephones, accessible parking spots. That all is part of ADA as far as building regulations, and it needs to be applied. So if you think about it too, this isn't just like doctors' offices and schools. We're talking about any kind of lodging, any place of food and drink, any place of entertainment, sports, recreation, sales, public gatherings, anything needs to go under the ADA.
Okay.
So what do you got?
So there has been a big trend in the last few years moving towards service animals. And we want to talk a little bit about service animals and how they are allowed under ADA versus emotional support animals or therapy animals. So there's a difference between the two.
Does this cover miniature horses?
So the ADA allows for two specific animals, a dog or, yes, a miniature horse.
And why is that? Is that due to allergies? Is my guess, because I'm allergic to dogs.
Probably due to allergies, most likely, if you're allergic to dogs. But both the dog and the horse have to be individually trained to do work or tasks that are very specifically oriented to the person's disability. So some examples of that. There are dogs that are seizure dogs. They are trained to identify and know when a seizure is about to take place in their owner.
I also heard diabetes.
There are dogs, and apparently miniature horses as well, that can help identify spikes in blood sugar, whether the blood sugar is going too high or too low.
Cool.
Obviously, we see a lot of support animals being used to help those who are visually impaired. There are also some anxiety dogs that can qualify under the ADA if that anxiety has been diagnosed by a psychiatrist. But if we want to talk a little bit more about support animals, therapy animals, that's different. You've seen people with peacocks and lizards and cats and a raccoon and the Noah's Ark of animals. Those are not ADA supported. And while many people and communities will embrace your support animal, they don't fall under ADA, and therefore they don't actually have to be accommodated, let's say, in a grocery store or a hotel.
Didn't know that. Yeah. Let's go into ADA and technology. Let's jump a little bit here. So ADA and technology, there's all kinds of technology out there now. We know it. You got your phones and all your fancy gadgets and gizmos. Well, ADA applies to that too. For instance, I'm going to just hit a couple items here. Websites, the content and function of the website needs to meet ADA guidelines. That includes the graphics, some easy things like readable fonts, being able to pause with the keyboard, actually being able to use the keyboard to navigate a website and not just the mouse is
Sure.
important.
Sure.
Mobile phones, there's some I didn't know, but all apps need to adhere to folks with disabilities. They need to be easy to navigate. And this stuff is all considered while they're making apps.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of behind the
That
scenes
is
work.
interesting. I didn't know that.
Let's talk about video. All video needs to be accessible, whether it's entertainment or information. This includes us.
Yeah.
It's basically about captioning on video for the deaf and hard of hearing. But then there's a lot of other things like no flashing content. Flashing content can trigger
create
seizures.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was like a story, I think it was a couple of years ago, like thousands of people ended up going to the hospital with seizures
Right.
over some video game or
Right.
something. And then, use of audio descriptions for the blind so that they know what's actually happening, because you can hear some things, but if there's not actual audio descriptions, you don't really know what's going on.
Right, there's no context perhaps. And this, I think, all kind of falls in line too with communication. And communication
Absolutely.
out in the community also is covered under ADA. And that pertains to people, obviously, who have vision impairment.
Sign language, maybe?
Yeah, deaf and hard of hearing, and even speech impairment. All of these people have to be able to communicate, receive, and then convey information. And so the ADA provides mechanisms for that as well, such as Braille, large print. Some people are offered qualified readers. There's note takers, interpreters. You mentioned real-time captioning, sign language, as you mentioned also. Speech-to-speech translators, people who are particularly trained in interpreting people who have speech disabilities, which is pretty cool. Devices for writing or typing. So those are just a few.
So basically ADA, we got you covered.
We got you covered.
Everything is kind of touched on?
Yeah. I mean, in all points of an individual's life, the ADA can touch their environments to really help accommodate their accessibility.
Yeah, and we encourage you to learn more. There's lots of information online about ADA, and it should be accessible as we discuss technology and all that.
Absolutely.
And if you have more questions too, you can reach out to your local ARC chapter, and we can let you know if you have a question about ADA.
Yep. We're always happy to answer any questions. Thank you for joining us today. We will be back another time with another Think Change training, so look forward to those.
Think Change. Talks, trainings, and tools to help in your work for or with people with intellectual and other developmental disabilities. Learn more at www.thinkchange.training.